Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Classic Mini DIY, where we fix those suspension creaks and those engine oil leaks. And on today's episode, I'm very excited to announce the next Classic Mini DIY project. Now you guys, I know, I've got a few projects going on right now, but there's always room for another project, as I know all of you guys are aware of. And this project comes from sunny, tropical Scotland. I'm very excited to share this with you. Now don't worry, this doesn't replace any of the projects I am doing right now. So the early 998 is still in progress. The gearbox is right down here. That is still in progress, and we're getting that filmed, so that's coming along soon. My Mini is still my Mini, doing its thing. And, you know, we got a few other things in the works. But today is about announcing a very, very big project, for me at least, and sharing it with you guys, the whole process. It's going to be really cool. Now, before we get into it, I do want to say a huge, huge thank you to everybody who has been supporting me on Patreon for the last 2 years or so. Really, without you guys, this would not be something that's possible. And if you guys are into this project after you find out what it is, and you want to help support this, help support seeing this to completion, because it is going to be a very expensive, it's going to be a really expensive project. Head over to my Patreon, consider supporting the channel. It helps me out a ton. None of that money is spent bringing my wife out to dinner or things like that. It's all for this channel. I don't even spend it on like repairs for my own Mini. That all comes out of my own pocket. All the Patreon money goes straight into builds to teach you guys how to work on your cars. But again, thank you so much to everyone who's already supported. It means the absolute world to me. Now, I know that you guys are probably ready to see what this is. You think it's probably something crazy and cool. I'm excited to show you. So let's see what it is.
Hey, come here. You look like a music lover.
Excuse me, senor. It is not ole ole. No, see. It is only one ole. Like this.
All right, there it is in all of its crusty glory. This is a 1275 GT block all the way from Scotland. Now, you guys probably saw already, if you have a keen eye, that there are no main caps associated with this. Don't worry. I know that everybody's probably thinking right now, oh my gosh, you're going to have to line bore it. It's going to cost a fortune, etc., etc. Keep in mind, folks, that it is very expensive to get engine blocks for the Classic Mini in the United States. So, by buying this block, external, in Scotland, about $100 US to ship it all the way from Scotland to Charlotte, and still, getting it line bored is going to be cheaper than me buying a rusty, crusty block here in the United States. It's crazy, but they're really expensive here. I think it's just because they're a lot rarer here. So you got to work with what you got, especially when it comes to geography. Sometimes it's just not as easy to get things. So you might be wondering, what am I going to do with this 1275 block? It doesn't have anything on it. And I'm talking anything. It's literally just the bare block. Well, I'm glad you asked. It's going to be a forced induction engine. Full stop, that's what it's going to be. So I have a few different forced induction ideas set up. I really don't know which route I'm going to take yet. Whether it's going to be the Rotrex supercharger that Specialist Components sells, I know 100% that I'm going to be doing fuel injection on this engine. So for this build, whether it's a supercharger, whether it's a turbocharger, it's all going to end up being fuel injected because I simply want to try out a fuel injection system. I've got a carb on my Mini. I've done dual carbs, I've done single carbs. I'm ready to give something else a try. But regardless of which type of forced injection I'm going to be running on this engine, I have to build up the bottom end the same way. It's got to have decompressed pistons. You have to accommodate for the additional boost pressure that's going to be in your engine, in your cylinders, when you're building it out from the get-go. There are, kind of workarounds with like a decompression plate, and then you end up having 2 head gaskets. It's not the right way to do it. I mean, you can get away with that. A lot of people run it and are totally happy with it, but I have this block bare. I don't have any pistons or a crank. So really at this point, I'm going to be able to choose exactly what crank I want to put in this. I have something that's really nice and balanced. New conrods, new pistons, everything has got to be new because I don't have it here. One thing I do know for sure is that I do have to bore these out. These cylinders are in kind of rough shape, so I'm definitely going to bring it out to 1293, which is my favorite displacement personally. And it's going to be a good spot for the forced induction engines. It doesn't make the sidewalls too skinny, but it does add a little bit more displacement for power. So like I said before, this is going to be a big project. It's going to be an expensive project. So it's probably going to take me a little while to get all this stuff done. I'm going to bring you along for the whole ride. I'm going to show you guys how to build a forced induction engine and really make it pop. But for the end of this episode, since it is a premiere, this live chat obviously has been going on probably during this whole video. I am going to leave this video running. I'm going to add a little bit of a buffer with just some basic sound at the end of this, so that you guys can ask questions about this engine, anything that you want to know about the project. I will be in the live chat answering those until the end of this episode, until the end of this video. So I'm going to put another 5 minutes or so at the end of this video, and I will talk to you there. But thank you so much to the gentleman over in Scotland who sold this to me. I forgot to ask if he'd be okay with me sharing his name, so I'm not going to share it, but thank you if you're watching this. I really appreciate this. It's going to be a great place to start, and it's going to be a cool build. But that's it. So until the next episode, well, you know the drill. Enjoy those minis, and motor on.
To lead off jam session on his famous theme number, Flying Home.
You ain't fooling me. Oh, you nasty.
Thank you.